Om Shanti. So welcome all of you. Before we begin, spend a few minutes in silence. So let's try to understand what is my true royalty today from the workshop. Indeed, the royalty of the soul is its reality. The more and more I'm able to realize my true self, the real self, the more I'm able to behave in a royal manner. Today, from the workshop, let's try to explore this not very commonly spoken about royalty. Before we begin, let's also try to ponder upon what is the basis of this royalty. As being taught in the divine versions here at Brahma Kumaris, it is taught to us that purity is the basis of royalty. The reality of royalty and the personality of purity. So, two very deep concepts, purity and royalty, covering in the next 2 hours. And as all of you know, that we have covered these since almost now, it's a year now, we have done so many values. You can see right at the end, the 20th, purity, very closely linked value to royalty. We had covered it on 28th August. And today we are doing royalty. So with this, I'll just stop sharing the screen. And I'm working on a different system, so you have to bear with me because I'm joining from Om Shanti Retreat Center I'm in Delhi. So it's a fortune to be here. So with us, we have our facilitators as usual. We have Sister Anu joining from the west coast of Canada, and also Sister Pooja, who will be doing all the writing PowerPoint work for us today. So welcome both of you. And over to Sister Anu for the first activity. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Manoj. Welcome everyone to this beautiful exploration on royalty. And we'll start with spiritual drill on royalty. So this is a beautiful drill, as we will see. And it brings our attention to what would be the manners, the behavior, what is the sign, the sparkle that you can see on the face and activities of a person who is royal. And it would be, like Manoj brother mentioned, from the divine virtues that we learn at Brahma Kumaris, that gives us the guidance how to conduct and bring the values in our actions. So let's listen to it, tap onto your silence, and let's listen to this spiritual drill on royalty.
Anu sister, you have to share the screen of that drill. We can't see that screen.
Thank you for letting me know. I'll do that.
Sure.
You can see the screen now?
Yes, yes.
सत्यता की सभ्यता अनुभव करेंगे। वैसे भी रायल आत्माओं को सभ्यता की देवी का उनका बोल देखना, चलना, खाना, पीना, उठना, बैठना, हर कर्म में सभ्यता, सत्यता, सुधई दिखाई देगी। ऐसा नहीं कि मैं तो सत्य को सिद्ध कर रहा हूँ और सभ्यता हुई नहीं। कई बच्चे कहते हैं ना वैसे क्रोध नहीं आता, लेकिन कोई झूठ बोलता है ना तो क्रोध आ जाता है। उसने झूठ बोला, हमने क्रोध से बोला, दोनों में राइट कौन? सत्यता को सिद्ध करने वाला सदा सभ्यता वाला।
So that was a very sweet message. We have to check ourselves. Am I holding on to the truth? And because I'm proving the truth, can I be angry? Can my manners be not nice? Then that is not royalty. So that was the good start. And we will continue further diving into truly understanding royalty, and we'll take home some methods that can help us to have royalty consciously in our life. So let's move on to our very next exercise. That is our first exercise. And that will be a reflective exercise on attributes of royalty. So we will reflect on what are the attributes of royalty. And for that, we will reflect on a person. Recall a person in your life, would be your guru or teacher or friend or family members or colleagues. So many people we meet in our life who leave a mark in our hearts or who are always with us and inspire us with their behavior, activities. So recall a person who has displayed royalty in their nature or sanskars that is seen on their face and activities, and reflect on the qualities that they display that relates to royalty. Now reflect on connecting what are their behaviors and what qualities in them that connects with the value royalty. So we'll take 2 minutes to reflect on this, and after that we'll take your sharings. So write it down, reflect on the qualities of royalty and the person that comes to your mind, and write it down. Thank you. I hope that was a quick reflection you all have written. So we'll invite you to share your reflection. Who is the person that you found as royal in your life, who is displaying royalty in their behavior, and what are the qualities they display? So could we invite you to unmute and share, whoever want to share?
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti Vijay, right? Yes, go ahead.
First of all, please accept greetings of love, peace, and happiness to all my dear brothers and sisters. I recall meeting Dadi Guljar ji with a distance of less than 1 feet, and I got her drishti, and that smiling face, that cheerfulness on the face, and swachhata, the cleanliness on the face, which shows that how internally they are pure. And after seeing that, it is now almost 10 years past, but that face is still in my mind as clear as she is standing just before me. So she gives a clear reality of royalty from her face of cheerfulness and cleanliness, जिसे हम कहते हैं हर्षित मुक्ता, प्रसन्न चित्त or Swachhata. Om Shanti.
Thank you, brother. That was really beautiful sharing, Dadi Gulzar. Cheerfulness and cleanliness, and you can see, I can feel very profoundly. Thank you very much, and yours royalty too. Like always, you have to greet with love, happiness to all. So that is the royal mannerism. Thank you for sharing.
Om
Anyone?
Shanti. Thank you, Didi.
Om Shanti. Anyone else who would like to share? I'm sure many of you have got some inspiration, the royal behavior, activity of somebody in your life. It can be anyone.
Om Shanti.
Yes, Manuel, brother.
Hi, everyone. I was sharing Dadi Gulzar too. I have a small meeting with her in 2012. It's my first and only time with her personally. And for me, until today, I have the quality of serenity. It was amazing. Yes. Since he started to come, it was a very nice experience because more or less we are a group of maybe 25 or 30 people in a small room and everybody talking, with each other. And then more or less around 1 minute before Daddy came, nobody said nothing, but everyone started to be in silence. And it was amazing because I'm in a place that I can saw Daddy coming, and it was very, very beautiful scene. And what I felt is that Daddy, before goes to the room, start to send her vibrations to put serenity in the room, And it was amazing, this experience.
Thank you. That was really beautiful sharing. The serenity, the silence you can feel powerfully from Dadi Gulzar. So Dadi Gulzar was our former administrative head of Brahma Kumaris, who is not with us anymore physically, but we all remember that royalty. So thank you so much for sharing, Manuel, brother. Anyone else will invite anyone else who could unmute and speak. Brother Arun.
Om Shanti. It was, I remember when I was in Mount Abu and met Dadi Janki. Her drushti was superb. I still remember that drushti very much with me. Everyday meditation gives me that satisfaction. Jo hum kehte hai, like what we say, we are getting the drushti, those very sweet souls through Baba, they receive those pure vibrations, and we also receive the pure vibrations from Dadi Janki. That time, everything, when she gave me the drushti, I remember, I forget everything. It was just the purity. Your silence, what other experience others gave, is the same thing. I did not see Guljar Didi, but Dadi Janki, that experience always is with me. Thank you.
Brother, yeah, beautiful. We all are very easily drawn to our seniors at Brahma Kumaris, that practice of Raja Yoga that you said, the divine energy, through their look, the drishti, we always have experienced the royalty in that. I see in the chat box also, Sister Pooja mentioned Sister Shivani. I'm sure we all can relate to how she is soft-spoken and patient. You can see the energy of royalty. And Manoj brother again says Dadi Janki, simple yet royal. So simplicity goes with royalty. That's amazing combination. So I think we have very compact sharing for this exercise. It's okay, we can move on, for we are looking forward to the other exercises that can take us deep into royalty. before we move on, maybe we can see that few sharings we saw discussed, but Sister Pooja can share. Yeah, we got Sister Shivani, Dadi Janki, Dadi Gulzar. Soft-spoken, patience, smiling face, simplicity, cheerful, pure, serenity, powerful vibrations, silence, powerful vision, drishti, and pure vibrations. So beautifully, Sister Pooja has written. I think we can still take one or two more sharings if anybody is inspired, if they want to share someone else's royalty and their qualities. Anyone here wants to unmute and speak?
Actually, we are more biased towards the Brahma Kumari organization, I feel. Do you feel any other participants want to share, apart from the Brahma Kumari's personalities, any other very powerful spiritual people or your gurus whom you all know well? Anyone wants to mention about them?
Can I say?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as a child in school, I got the chance to meet Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and in Rashtrapati Bhavan. And for him, there was a special chair, like because he's a president. But as soon as he entered, he gave the instruction to get the normal chair, like belonging to the chair which other people are also sitting. So that was very powerful for me, like being on that authority. He should need to get that respect and that position, hold that chair, but he still pick up that being normal, being simple, and being so royal, and come to the place where he was able to connect with us. So I think that incident really inspired me till today. This is something I've seen very rarely in the people who have hold such a high position. So yeah.
So that's the humility, and action speaks louder. I mean, the humility you could feel and could connect. Thank you so much. Powerful sharing. So should we move ahead, Manoj brother?
Sure. Yeah. Fine. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for your sharings, and good someone was able to speak about a little bit away from the Brahma Kumaris. This quality virtue of royalty is very difficult actually to discuss much about, because many people don't really understand what this value is. But I'm sure through the workshop you can gather something about royalty. Uh, Dr. Amarjit Singh wants to share anything, or he wants to share in the next exercise? I'll move ahead. If he wants to share, if you all want to share, you all can unmute. So we'll do that in the next activity. Okay, and before I forget, so Swati was speaking the last. So people who have joined new today, so please feel free to share your WhatsApp numbers and emails so that we can keep you updated about the upcoming workshops and the talks which we do. Okay, so with this, let's move on to the next exercise. So having said that, you all have seen what are the qualities which make up royalty. So it's simplicity, humility, many others you all have said. It's the pure vision, what we call drishti in Hindi. A royal soul only can give you pure drishti. It's otherwise very difficult to give you pure vision or drishti to that. So let's go in the further depths of it. And before we go to what we call the action planning, I'll just take you in the visualization mode and share the screen. So what I would request all of you all to sit back straight. And before we move on to the next exercise, for the next, say, few minutes or so, let's try to visualize this quality or virtue of royalty. For this, let your mind be calm and stable. Take a few deep breaths in and out. And relax your body and mind. Now visualize yourself as this beautiful, pure, sparkling, conscient energy. That is what I am. That's my reality. And let me realize this reality. I am indeed full of truth, that is Satyata, and mannerisms, that is Sabhyata. So let me try to place myself in this eternal truth which I am. अविनाशी सत्य जो मैं हूँ. And it won't be difficult for me to practice royalty. Because the moment I am situated in this true soul conscious state, I am the master of my mind. I have these two beautiful powers, controlling power and ruling power. I am in charge of my feelings and thoughts. That is my controlling power. And I am in charge. I know how to now respond and behave in my interactions with other people. That is called the ruling power. So now, being situated in this true reality of myself, and having developed the ruling power and controlling power, let me now come into the field of action. Visualize yourself at workplace or at home, and see yourself behaving through this natural royalty. Just again and again we are saying my true reality. Look at yourself entering the office, sitting on the chair, in a meeting having discussions, or whatever your routine is at your workplace. Look at all those actions one by one. And see yourself carrying those actions in the natural soul conscious state. Now it's evening time, you come back home, But again, though physically be a bit tired, but still you have this beautiful controlling power, whereby again you are in charge of your mind and you know what thoughts to create. So despite being physically tired, your mind is still fresh, and through this freshness of royalty, we interact now with everyone at home, the same soul conscious vision. And as you retire, go to bed, again tell yourself, create this thought: I am a royal soul, a child of the Supreme Being, going to bed in the lap of the Supreme Being, in my true, real nature of royalty. So with this visualization, let's now come back into the awareness of the workshop. I'll just stop sharing the sound. Okay. Yes, so welcome back. And let us move on to the action planning activity, which is all about what you'll have visualized in these past 10 minutes or so. Let's try to put that into action. And I'll again share the screen. Yeah. Okay. So hope you all were able to visualize something. So let's take this royalty into action. So now we are in the action planning mode. As you know, in the workshop, when we finish with the last exercise, before I go into the revision of what the seniors said, we do the action planning mode. So let's churn on or reflect on what changes can I make in my behavior at home or workplace. So there is no scope for you to escape the people who are at home, homemakers, or not working, or maybe even working from home. Yeah, COVID is working from home. So what changes can I make in my behavior which will help me to cultivate the virtue of royalty? So I'll give you a few minutes to churn on this, and we'll take sharings after this. If you all want, you all can share in the chat box if you all are ready. If you all don't want to speak, so that's also perfectly fine. I think the slides, yeah. I'm sure the screen is visible, Pooja sister. Are you all there, or am I not audible?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, it's
Everything is
visible.
good.
Okay, and the volume is also there. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So let's not take the virtue of royalty as something very hi-fi. So let's try to work on those small things in your behavior which you all want to change. I'll give you a few more minutes and then we'll go in the sharing mode. Yeah, welcome back. We have more participants who have joined. So welcome all of you who have joined new. I'm sure you all know what we are doing in the exercise. So even if you all have joined late, please feel free to share your thoughts. So let's start taking the sharings. I'll just read in the meantime to warm up the atmosphere and to warm up your sharings. So Arun Bhai is writing, I'll be a good listener. Yeah, so that's beautiful. So that's my action. I have to listen, listening skill. Okay, I'll just go behind. I've missed a few. Yeah, Arun brother was saying, I am a trustee. Okay, so that also is an action plan, right? Pooja sister is saying, think before you speak or act, or maybe beautiful one, very deep, think before you think. Right. So I hope Pooja sister is writing down the responses. Anu sister is saying, silence, necessary thoughts and affirmations about my truth. Beautiful. So what affirmations you all can tell yourself is, I am a gentle and royal soul. Right. So I just don't want to read the chat box sharing. Anyway, I've read it. It's done. So you all can start sharing. You can feel free to unmute yourself.
Om Shanti Manoj Bhai ji.
Yeah, go ahead, Vijay brother. Yeah.
Your face is today shining because I know you are in ORC and doing a bhatti. So you are looking very royal to me today. Baba bless you.
Thank you,
Now,
brother.
the reality of royalty, we know that चेहरे से मुस्कुराहट हो, प्रसन्नचित हो, हर्षित मुक्ता हो, we should be smiling, and cleanliness which comes from the internal heart when it is pure, the real purity. So Baba says purity, reality, royalty, and unity. So if we have this knowledge, we know we are all peaceful souls, and so everyone in the eternal form. So today we may have different views, but we can give with a purity a vibrations of love, peace, and happiness to all, and they will change. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Vijay brother. So Isabel sister is sharing that beautiful sharing. Take care that the crown is not falling down. Okay, so now I don't need to explain you all which crown is this. It's not really a physical crown. It's something very subtle. Keep the head up and the mind powerful against my inner negativity. So it's something as we saw in the visualization, it's about, again, those two powers of the mind, controlling power and ruling power. So my crown should not fall, which means I should not fall on anything which is not in my control. I have to take charge back, the controlling power. So which means I have to have my head up all the time against all odds. Yes, Deepak Bhai, beautiful. Another sharing is, it reminds me of two Hindi words, nyara and pyara. So you'll be more detached and leave everything to God or universe to take care. I'm sure he doesn't mean that let God do everything. We do our things, but do it in a very detached way and make things right for all. God will do all the right things. And we have to be in the ruhaniyat, a beautiful word. Ruhaniyat is an Urdu word which means spirituality, situating yourself in that soul conscious, that's a royal stage connected with God. Brother Manuel has shared in some different language, I think that's Portuguese. So if you want to write it in English, brother. And in the meantime, if Deepak Bhai wants to share your own experience about what you have written, if you don't mind sharing, Deepak Bhai. Okay, I hope.
Om Shanti.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Like I was telling that based on royalty, that I need to be more detached rather than trying to go into everything, and just
Okay.
leave it to leave it to God and universe to take care. And instead of getting involved, it's better to be more detached and be connected to God.
Okay, thank you, Deepak Bhai. So we have with us Dr. Ashok Mehta as well. So you want to share, Dr. Mehta, something? Please, yeah. You have to unmute yourself. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, fine.
I think being with Baba is a sign of our royalty, to be as long as possible with him in silence.
Right. Beautiful. So it's being Bap Saman, similar to God, and a beautiful virtue is peace and silence. So the more we practice silence, the more we start becoming royal. Okay, we have a couple of more minutes for few sharings. Dr. Sunita Lura wants to share, or Sister Geeta Kumar. I think it's Dr. Geeta Kumar as well. Either of you can share, or Dr. Om Narayan, a new soul. Feel free to share your thoughts. Okay. So in the meantime, Pooja sister, if you can just share, and I'll just quickly revise the action plan which we have spoken about. Yeah, thank you. So let's look at your action plans. So beautiful, very, I must say, full of what we call in Hindi swamans, all sorts of self-awareness thoughts which we have. So think before you think, become a good listener. Silence is coming up very often, and having a lot of affirmations about self. And Vijay Bhai spoke about, as in the icebreaker drill, we mentioned about Chehra and Chalan. So the face, because the face is the index of the mind, my face reflects what I am thinking. And even the Chalan, which is my behavior with other people. Yeah, and he rightly said, I am doing the bhakti here. So it's a temporary effect, which is good. Hope it lasts for some more time. Then being with the Supreme in silence, Dr. Mehta mentioned that, and Deepak Bhai mentioned about beautiful about Nyara and Pyara, being detached and surrendering to God. Rather than saying leaving everything to God, it's surrender. I do my things, but surrender to God, not really being very result conscious. Do your duty and leave it to God for the result. Beautiful. So it's time up now. I'll just go further and share the screen. I'm sure Anu sister, just keep a watch on Gopi sister and make her co-host. That will be great. Yeah, I'm sure she'll join soon. So let us, in the meantime, go with our routine as we do. Yeah. So, we had Sister Santosh Didi all the way from St. Petersburg. She spoke on royalty. So what she basically said is, she started with examples from her life, that when she entered Brahma Kumaris, she heard this word Raj Yoga, and it's a beautiful word, everything related to royalty, because when you think of the virtue of royalty, it reminds you of a king, an emperor. So Raj Yoga basically is that. Raja means king and yoga means the connection. So the moment I sit back on this seat of my soul conscious state, I gain self-sovereignty, what we call in Hindi as Swarajya. And she mentioned about those 8 faculties, which is basically, of them, the 5 are the gross physical organs, the seeing, the hearing, etc. And the other 3 are the subtle ones, which we call the mind, intellect, and sanskars. And that's what is the basis of Brahma Kumaris, the first day course when you do, trying to understand these 3 main subtle faculties. So she was mentioning about this. I normally don't go in every line of the slide, so I'll just go further. And we are taught here again, the basis of all this is soul consciousness, and soul consciousness makes you naturally very pure. So purity is at the foundation of all these, what we are discussing today, of the royalty. And how can we be pure? It is by developing this pure connection, the divine connection with the Supreme. And practicing Raj Yoga definitely makes you a king of the self, and further the king of the perfect world, which is in front of you. You can see Krishna, you can see something which normally you don't see in this age. You can see the tiger and the cow drinking from the same pond. And here you can see even the lion and the hare together. So it's amazing. And here the deer also is not worried about both these, the tiger and the lion. So it's such a world where there is absolutely non-violence. And this non-violence stems from purity, and that really makes you royal. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, so Santosh Didi mentions about this world cycle. So you can see that.
Manoj brother, I don't think we are seeing the sharing. Yeah, it's not moving.
You're not. Oh, you're
It's
telling
not
me so
moving.
late. It's not moving, is it? I don't know what you
I
all
thought
saw
it's
there.
my end.
Okay,
You
good.
can
So
stop and reshare. I think that solves the problem.
is it okay now, or it's not there again?
Yes, now it's good.
Okay, so should I go? I
Yeah,
told you
maybe
all
quickly
lion,
show the
tiger.
slides.
Yeah. So see if you all can see. This is the. I was wondering then what you all were seeing. You should have told me before.
Sorry.
Anyway, cow and the tiger are drinking from the same pond. Here is Krishna feeding the little cow here. The deer is not afraid of these animals here because it is said that in Satyug, in the golden age, all these animals are also non-violent, the hare and the lion together. So I hope you all are now able to get what I'm saying because it was a little bit bizarre. I was just saying and you all were not able to see. So Santosh Didi was mentioning about this entire world cycle where all of us are passing through that. And we are right at this end, which is what we call the confluence age. And after this, this new golden age is coming, the beautiful, what we call Satyug and Treta Yug. And after these 2500 years together, then we again fall down. And then what we call the Copper Age and the Iron Age starts. So Iron Age is this dark period of history, which we are going through. Everything dark is happening outside. COVID is an example of that. But soon it is time for the darkness to end and the new morning to start. So she said it is now time to take up royalty as a lifelong project because the entire half cycle we will be fully royal souls. We will be connected with our inner nature and full divinity at its best. And what we call the 16 celestial degrees. In Hindi, we call it Sola Kala Sampurna. Another thing which Santosh Didi touched was beautiful on the difference between royal and royalty. So she said royal is just a status symbol or it's just a position, whereas royalty is basically about your personality, how you develop. So basically, what we are speaking today is not being royal, it is about royalty as developing a personality. And again, it's Krishna here, you can see. So one of those deities, what we call of the Satyug. So Krishna is he is an embodiment of that. He's one of the perfect form of human beings, what we say, Manushya se Devta Banna, which is the core teachings of Brahma Kumaris. And very closely related to royalty are all these values which Didi mentioned: generosity, gentleness, sobriety, nobility, dignity, serenity, and many more. And she said, since we are passing through this world cycle, this entire world is a stage, and all of us are actors on this stage. And you know, when people perform on the stage or even in movies, an actor performs, an actor usually knows the entire script, what he has to perform, what is his role, what are his dialogues. So basically at Brahma Kumaris, it's beautifully said here that we need to know the history and geography of the entire world cycle because we are actors and we are performing on this stage. Unless we know our roles, what we are passing through, what is our role, royalty cannot develop. So this is what Didi said, that we need to know the full script of the entire play. And amazing, when you do the 7-day Raja Yoga meditation course, you come to know everything about the entire play. The full script is in front of you in those 7 days. And this was started in 1937. It started through Brahma Baba, who was the founder father. And through him, the incorporeal, whom we call God Shiva, he was speaking about all this. So Raj Yoga is basically the knowledge of this real self and getting connected to the higher self. Okay, moving further is royalty is deep inner silence. So as Dr. Mehta had shared, so if you have a mind which is still, stable and calm, it can really be a master of its own mind. Then you don't really need to think about developing the controlling power and ruling power. So it's stability, stillness. Thinking self to be an instrument and doing the actions will make you more and more humble. And the more you practice being in the stage of a consciousness of being an instrument of God, the more you become humble. Humility naturally flows through you. And also, Didi mentioned about having what we call a satiated intellect. So to put it in other words, a contented mind, a mind which is content with everything, whatever you have. and beyond greed and desire. So what we call in Hindi, Ichha Madhyam Avidya. And recently we had Brijmohan Bhai Sahab here and Asha Didi who were sharing. They were saying that not only it's about Ichha, desires, it's now about expecting from other people as well, or maybe hoping from other people. So what we call as Dilip Bhai, Anu sister, yeah, thanks. So it is about going beyond hopes and expectations from people. So it is Ichha Matram Avidya and Asha Matram Avidya. So we have to now move ahead as well in that. That's what churning happened today here as well, which is closely correlating with that day's churning. And again, Deepak Bhai beautifully got this point of detachment. So Didi Santosh mentioned that royalty is this charismatic balance of being able to radiate love yet being totally detached. And she mentioned here a balance of life, which balance helps you maintain emotionally freedom and stable inside and not getting disturbed by whether you're having success in life or failure. A beautiful example she gave, many children complain, children in the sense many souls complain to God that I normally don't get angry, I'm very royal in my behavior, but when someone speaks lies, then I get angry. So mind well, we are taught here that getting angry or upset is leaving your seat of royalty. So we might as well tell ourselves that yes, when I'm getting angry, if someone is speaking lies, even I'm not being royal about. So it's important. And as we heard in the drill about mannerisms of truth, what we call in Hindi as sabhyata and satyata. So both these go hand in hand. So she covered that the truth which we are, the reality what we are, it will make us or rather our mannerisms very royal. So satyata and sabhyata. That's what we say in Hindi, ki sach bolo, satya bolo, but sabhya hoke bolo. Because it's always said in the outside world that sach hamesha kadwa hota hai, like truth is always bitter. Not really. We are taught here at Brahma Kumaris that if you can speak royally, that means you are truly truthful to yourself. So it's a deep philosophy here what we are taught. I think I'll just take a few more slides. I'm sorry, I have a little bit of issues with system because I'm new to this system, so I'm taking a little bit of time. This is what Sister Santosh said, this internal feeling of not lacking anything, which means full contentment, satisfaction inside, it automatically generates a particular response in other people that is positive and peaceful. And I'll just take one more slide, which is all about questions. That why do Brahma Kumaris only speak about Lakshmi Narayan and not Ram Sita? So why Lakshmi Narayan? Because they are the 16 degrees celestial, whereas Ram Sita are 2 degrees less. So we want to always aim for a higher thing in life, not the second position. Everyone wants to be the first, right? Then the question was about, are there any royal forms of weaknesses? So this royalty is not the true royalty, but something I have as a weakness in me, but I'm trying to sort of hide it or make up or mask it in some way or the other. So it is like many things which we are taught here. It's like being lazy, then trying to postpone. So all these different sanskars we are trying to cover up. So that basically is a royal weakness. So it looks that if someone is telling me, oh, please, can you do this job for me? I tell him on the face, yes, I can do that maybe tomorrow. And then when that person comes and asks me tomorrow, I tell him, oh, sorry, I forgot. So Dadi Janki used to say, this is also not royalty. So whatever weaknesses we have, that is basically what is called Maya. And Maya is nothing but illusion. So if I'm having this sanskar of postponing things, about giving excuses all the time, or even being very lazy all the time, not doing things on time, it is not being royal. That's what Santosh Ji mentioned. So with this, now we move on to Sister Gopi. And before I give it to her, as usual, Gopi Didi will introduce you in the form of a poem. I know Sister, she's joined, right?
Yeah, she's there. If sister can switch on the video, if she's here.
She's there. Yeah, thank you. So excuse me, yeah. So I'll just read a small poem. Everyone is aware of Sister Gopi. She's our regular faculty now. She's done 3 or 4 talks for the last entire 1-year series which we did. And this is the 4th one now. So Sister Gopi is indeed a mine of gold because she's left away the world which is old. She's got this beautiful ability to mold, which keeps everyone in her company also rolled. Let's not try to get in our lives any complex fold and just wait for the divine drama to unfold. Because life has indeed it has blessings manifold and is full of stories which are untold. So in the end, then there won't remain any chance to scold because relations are too valuable to be sold. So with this now I go on to royalty, a few words on that. Royalty keeps me away from playing the game, whereby now I stop putting the blame. I do not desire for myself any name and also want to be away from the false fame. I've stopped giving excuses which are lame because I've realized that all of us are indeed the same. And now I have put my shortcomings and weaknesses to a shame. So with this, over to Sister Gopi, and thank you so much. And she's joining with us from Madhuban. She's here since almost 2-3 weeks. Thank you so much, Sister Gopi. Welcome.
Om Shanti. Is the sound okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, it is.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful poem, Manoj Bhai. It's always a lovely way to introduce somebody, take people into the fragrance of poetry, and a very royal way to introduce someone, I might add. So I think before we explore this subject, I'd like us to step into some silence. I remember many years ago in a conversation with Dadi when I'd asked her, what is royalty? And she described the state of royalty as the experience of the silence of the soul world, the state in which the highest on high state in the soul world. And it made me think afterwards how silence is connected very deeply with a royal state of being. And so without further description, let's take a step-by-step approach and go into that highest on high experience of silence. So wherever you're sitting, I'm going to invite you to sit up straight, spine erect, both feet on the floor. And let's just begin with our usual tension releasing exercise. So take a deep breath and fill your abdomen and hold it. And release very slowly on the out breath, releasing any tension you may be holding in the body. And now just tighten all the muscles in your feet and your legs. Clench all the muscles in your feet and legs and toes, calf muscles, and release. And again, and release. And now clench all the muscles in your stomach and chest. Pull your stomach in and release. And again. And release. And now all the muscles in your arms and hands, and make your fingers into a little fist. Shoulders, arm, hands, muscles. Clench as tight as you can. And release. And again. And release. And now take a couple of deep breaths in. Hold it. And breathe out slowly through your mouth. Breathe in. And breathe out. And as you allow your breathing to settle into a gentle rhythm, feel all the tension in the body dissolve. And allow the body to come to a state of deep peace and rest. The senses calm down and are released and present now. And now begin to feel yourself inside. There's a powerful current of energy that gives life to this body. And as you step behind the mask of this face, you start to become aware of yourself as a subtle being inside. And as that current of energy concentrates, behind these eyes, you start to experience the softness and sweetness of being light, of being the soul. And you start to feel the gentle nature of the soul. The sweetness and innocence and purity of being. The quality of the soul creates a sweet fragrance. And you let yourself rest in sweet silence. And now, from this awareness of yourself as a subtle being of light. That is full of qualities. You go deeper inside. And let yourself become a seed. The seed that is implanted in this body, that is the source of life. And as you go deep underground, it becomes more and more silent. And in becoming a seed, you experience a detached silence. In which there is stability and power. And you say to yourself, I am a master seed. And from this place of detachment, you become aware that you are a master creator. Of every thought, word, and act. And now you slowly open your eyes and look out in front of you. Whilst remaining aware of yourself as this seed inside. Om Shanti Shanti. What did we just do in this journey of silence? We began to reclaim our inner power and inner authority of being a creator. And of course, these steps are simple, but when they're practiced regularly, you can switch from being a victim of circumstance to a creator and a benevolent authority. And for me, this state of recognizing my treasures and powers and having the choice to create with them is the state of Swarajya, self-rule, becoming a self-sovereign, which is at the heart of royalty. And so the cultivation, first and foremost, to silence of the body. So many signals have come to us about taking care of our body. It doesn't mean becoming health conscious. It means taking care of our movement, taking care of what we eat, what we do, so that our senses stay cool and non-reactive. Then we can hold an elevated seat. And we can hold the awareness of being a creator and a master seed. And so in many ways, this practice of silence, it allows me to restore my self-sovereignty, reclaim that royal position of being a self-sovereign. And of course, we understand that there's one aspect of royalty in its original form that is based on virtue. And then over time, as we lose awareness of ourselves and we lose connection with our virtue, royalty has taken on such a limited expression, where from the beginning of the Copper Age, kings and royalty were not by virtue, but through conquest, where suddenly land was conquered, property was taken, and somebody decided to make themselves a king of a land. And you know, the word royalties are paid, derived from that time, when gold and silver was being mined and minerals, a percentage of that was given to the sovereign of that land. And so it's interesting to see the degradation of this word royalty from a very unlimited divine definition of the giving and receiving of virtue to property, money, land, transaction, and a complete disregard for virtue, as we see in today's royal families. They are simply human beings struggling. What is it going to take to tap into my virtues fluidly and easily? And in my own meditation practice, I've come to see and understand and also feel that at one stage in meditation is experiencing God's companionship. When you experience the loving companionship, it automatically creates a sense of disinterest and detachment. Because so much of our sense of royalty has become limited in the sense that it's just a set of etiquettes or manners, but they're only surface value. And yet, experiencing the grace and divinity of virtue, that's a completely different state. So it requires me to access a completely different state inside me, cultivate a state of mind inside me. And so the first level is just experiencing God's companionship. Because I feel within that companionship, the love brings with it a natural detachment from egoic tendencies of limited name, of fame, of attachments, and an interest in a spiritual state of being. Sustaining God's company also requires me to learn to put a full stop to anything that will pollute the experience of this companion. And so learning to say no to waste and learning to say no to negativity is a big part of starting to elevate my state of being. And then there's one stage I need to cultivate, and that is what we call yoga incorporeal stage. In this stage, all virtues and all powers automatically manifest, and negativity is finished. And this stage is very deeply linked to the experience of silence, and especially the silence of the home. You know, as we understand it, we are human beings and we love our human journey on this earth. Yet we know there's something more than just the human journey. The subtle journey, the journey of light, the journey of experiencing myself as light, feeling light, being light. The journey of experiencing my own goodness and sharing my goodness. The incorporeal stage allows us to experience a level of silence in which we can reset, neutralize, and unlock our virtues. Because a lot of the expression of our virtues is suppressed under reactive tendencies, suppressed under old habits. And until I cultivate a depth of silence that allows me to step into another state that neutralizes the effect of old habits and reactive tendencies, I won't experience true grace. The royalty for me is so deeply linked to divinity and grace. And grace means a divine order flows. Everything is in its order and something is flowing. There's no push or pull anywhere. There's just a complete natural divine order playing itself out, and I'm a part of that. I've aligned myself back into that divine order. And one of the things I deeply appreciated about Dadi Janki was her royalty of being and presence. How did I see that manifest in relationships? Because she had cultivated this incorporeal state over a long period of time, one, she never had negative thoughts about anybody. Imagine how protective that state is when you come into connection and relation with people and no negative thought arises in your mind. The second aspect was the aspect of what I would term as non-interference. She was almost so much in tune with God and with the drama and the flow of life as being accurate and moving towards a divine order, that she didn't allow herself to interfere into people's stories. And yet she held a very benevolent vision, a very benevolent attitude, a trusting vision that enabled people in her company to quickly elevate and shed whatever they were going through, without her even having to ask. I mean, I can barely remember a time in our relationship, my relationship with Daddy, when she asked me, "How are you?" She didn't even need to say that. And I feel, when we talk about royalty, there is always this connection of speaking less, speaking sweetly, speaking softly, but that's not an artificial exercise. It comes from a deep place of knowing everything is going to be okay. Everyone and every person has their own part on this world stage. And let me play my part. And so within that state of knowing and understanding the bigger picture and remaining in the flow of it, without letting myself getting hijacked by expectations or desires or wants, then suddenly things begin to synchronize around me. I start to experience grace in my life. But the seed is always incorporeal. I, the soul, experience the true nature of peace. And I experience where I belong, to God, in that sweet silent home. I've lately been spending some time with Brother Nuer in Ahmedabad. As I arrived from the UK, I had a couple of phone calls with him, and it was quite clear that he was going through some quite challenging episodes with his body. And I decided to go and spend a few days with him as a friend, as a sister. And as I sat with him over those days, I said to him, "What are you doing in this time? What is the soul doing? We know what the body's doing. We know the upheavals the body's going through. You had COVID many months ago. You've had water in your lungs. You've had issues with your stomach. You've had blood pressure fluctuations. So we know the body and its games. But what is the soul doing in all of this?" And Brother Noah gave a beautiful answer. He said, of course, when the body fluctuates, it creates a teeny weeny bit of anxiety, right? Because what you think you can do before, which is get up and go, suddenly you can't just get up and go. You can't just jump up and start running because the body starts to put the brakes on. And so this teeny weeny bit of anxiety, when it starts to come on, I just say to myself, but you're an eternal soul. And the moment I say that to myself, the anxiety just disappears. I am an eternal soul. And just for a few moments, feel this statement. And just feel how when you dive into the experience of eternity, it releases you from all neuronic reactions immediately. I am an eternal soul. And it just starts to release you from the whirlpool and the polarized energy of the human level frequency. And suddenly you're in a place, we say in Hindi, saralta, easiness, is I think the path to royalty is you first got to become easy, not lazy, but easy in yourself and in the experience of what's happening in and around you, either physically, emotionally, but the experience of being an eternal soul helps to create a sense of easiness and acceptance of what is as it is now. And it's only when I reach a level of easiness and acceptance can I then offer and realize the virtue that this situation is asking for. Because no matter what packaging something comes to you in, a demanding situation, a difficult person, there is only one ask from you, and that is a request for a virtue, the cooperation of a particular virtue. And so for me to realize what that virtue is, stepping into the awareness of being eternal releases me from the push and pull dynamics down here, takes me into a place of easiness from which I can be more objective and clearer. And then I can continue my journey of silence and step into the incorporeal stage. And very naturally, the virtue that's required will emerge. It could be respect, it could be patience, it could be love. And so I would really encourage you that, whatever's happening in your life at this point in time, just hold this question. What is it asking from me? And then let yourself step into the awareness of being eternal and incorporeal and see what feeling emerges. And once you become the embodiment of that feeling and quality, then you and your presence is the solution. As you change your vibration, you automatically become the solution. The solution is not a conceptual thing. It's not an intellectual thing. The solution is an offering of a virtue. So I deeply feel that cultivating silence physically, sweet silence, the sweetness of experiencing myself to be the soul in this body, detached from the body, and then dead silence, detached silence, the experience of being the seed in the home. And suddenly, all my powers are at my disposal. Very royally, I can use the power of words to share. I can use the power of my eyes to share love. And with very small input, you can get a bigger outcome and you can get much more mileage. So I think cultivating a state of royalty is getting to that point of being and feeling myself to be a self-sovereign. so that I'm not giving my power away. You know, we lose our royalty when we enter into familiarity. You know how old dynamics take over, and old ways of being and speaking, and we start to get absorbed in someone's story. Just think about this much. When someone's speaking something, and, you know, sometimes people have a way of sharing stories, bit of, you know, chatpati masala mixed in, and suddenly you find yourself getting drawn into that story, and your attention is shifting and enjoying the entertainment of that story. In that moment, you're just giving your power away. And you're just saying to the other person, I am going to dance to your tune, and I'm going to dance to your story. And they have you hook, line, and sinker. They can manipulate your emotions. They can manipulate your state of mind in that moment. And instead of experiencing the royalty of your dignity, you experience the subservient of being a slave. And then you may leave that interaction feeling a little bit like, oh, well, that was interesting, but I don't feel very comfortable inside, because you've just given away a bit of your power. So I'm going to stop there now, because I wanted to keep this simple and natural, and know that you can't manipulate your external expression. You have to start from a very authentic space inside that is truly a space of pure feelings, silence, goodness, where there's no negativity present. And then your divinity will automatically work for you in a very real way and a royal way. And you know, as we cooperate with our virtues, that is our generosity. And as you cooperate with virtues, you multiply that, you create a chain reaction of that around you. And whether people are willing or not willing, they will engage into a dance of virtues with you. I've seen that happen many, many times when I really make the investment in that state of silence. When I let myself get disturbed, and so then I have to work harder to get people's cooperation. So, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you so much for being very brief and concise. So shall we take a few questions? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So is there any difference between divinity and purity?
Purity is linked to truth, and purity is a state, and divinity is the expression of purity. So that's why we call the deities of heaven divine human beings, because they express the fullest colors of purity through their eyes, through their expression, through the sweetness of their words. So divine is an expression that you experience, and purity is a state of being, a very truthful state of being.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to touch upon this. Actually, we did it in the last Q&A. It was a second question which we shared. It's about various forms of royal weaknesses which we have. So do you want to touch upon that and let us know a few things, your perspective?
Royal forms of weakness?
Yeah.
There's 3 royal forms of weaknesses that I know Baba has spoken about, Daddy has spoken about. Carelessness, laziness, and making excuses. Carelessness is when it comes on when I don't give my full attention to complete something. You know, it's like something lacking in my attentiveness. And you kind of just go, okay, I've done enough now. And as you feel like you've done enough now, you rest on your laurels, but you don't see something through. I mean, it's as simple as, you know, when someone's coming to meet you. I remember some people would come to meet Daddy. She could satisfy a person in 2 minutes. Why? She would give them 100% attention. She was never careless with her attention. And so because she wasn't careless with her attention, God could give that soul whatever he or she needed very, very fast. And so our attentiveness is a channel that allows God's power to work in our life. And being careless means kind of loosening my attentiveness faculty, letting my attention faculty go to sleep. And then laziness. And laziness has a lot for time. So I'll postpone a good thought. I'll postpone a good action. Because, you know, I'll do it tomorrow, it's okay. I don't have to pull it to do it now. And, you know, this is where I really saw Daddy's skill. And, you know, the thing is, when you postpone something, what do? Especially when you postpone a good thought or a good act or something that can bring benefit, you actually create more anxiety for yourself. You create more subtle pressure for yourself. So I wonder how much of the anxiety and pressure we experience is because we've actually just been lazy in that aspect. And then I suppose making excuses, another royal form of weakness. I guess for me, it comes when you've let your vision, when you've compared yourself to what's happening around you and adjusted your bar to fit in. And then you make excuses. Well, everything's like that anyway, so it's okay. You know, it's okay. And you lose sight of I suppose you dilute your aim, you dilute your own personal standard to something lower.
Okay, thank you. A sister is asking that I wake up with anxiety the first thing in the morning. As soon as I'm awake, I'm conscious about it. It's like a feeling of butterflies in the stomach. So not a very good feeling. So she's asking, how can I use a royal virtue to help myself at that moment?
I think one of the first things to address is how you're going to sleep at night. Because the product of how you wake up in the morning is very deeply linked to how you prepare yourself as you go to bed. If you're going to bed reading from your mobile phone, you're absorbing other people's anxiety. You're absorbing people's stuff, and you go to bed in that state, you're going to wake up with that stuff in your stomach. You go to bed watching TV. And again, that gets absorbed and disturbs your emotional state. And you wake up with that same stuff. It's how it is. It's like everything that's in your short-term memory gets translated or gets shifted down into your long-term memory when you're sleeping. And so, you know, it's almost like we absorb stuff that disturbs us. And so then your subconscious has to work all night to try and organize all this stuff you'd collected in your mind, your conscious mind. You end up getting dreams, you end up getting funny visions, you wake up in the morning, you feel, and then you try and overuse your intellect to cope with that anxiety. And in the process of overusing your intellect, you disassociate from yourself. So, you know, I'm just looking at this from a very real perspective. Look after your mind before you go to bed, which means at least for half an hour, 45 minutes before you go to bed, stay right away from that mobile phone, stay right away from the television. Opportunity to write in your journal, to do a bit of meditation, to relax your mind completely, and to just be and experience God's presence, God's very loving and soothing presence. And then when sleep comes naturally, go to sleep. And you'll find every day as you do this, every day, you're going to start to wake up with the feeling that God is with you. And when you wake up, don't touch your mobile phone for at least half an hour. So, you know, I think it's more about learning to take care of yourself, understanding what it's going to take and how to look after yourself so that your mind is able to remain clean and light before you go to bed.
Okay, great. There are two questions. I'll just club it together and we'll take it as the last one. It's slightly lengthy, so bear with me. The sister is asking that when I'm in a situation or an interaction with someone and I'm pulled to react negatively due to my own weaknesses and the negative energy of the situation as well, but later I feel guilty as I had failed to not be situated in the self-sovereign state. So what practical tips of practice can you give us to overcome these situations, such things where I lose my self-sovereignty and I get pulled negatively to react negatively?
You know, step one, when something is happening, for a period of time, just observe what's happening. That's really important. We tend to miss that step. And we try to kind of practice something that is perhaps not quite connected with what's needed now. First step is just observe what's going on. Observe what's happening inside. That's all. And as you start to observe it, just seek to understand it. Like, you know, if there is like a woof emotion coming up, then just imagine it's a little kid that's just going, woof. Well, what would you do to a little kid? You would just understand it, observe it, and just for a few moments, be with it. Because just that process of being honest with yourself, which is observing and understanding what's happening inside you. Don't try to understand the situation, that's endless. But what you have to do is understand and name your feeling. Yes, I do feel this. And in the middle of this, I, the soul, am still okay. And you know, it takes about a minute and a bit for an emotion to pass through you. But if we're fighting with that emotion and trying to do something else and avoiding it, we prolong that struggle. When actually, can I just sit in the eye of the storm, observe that feeling, say, yes, I feel that, And I am still okay because I am an eternal soul. So that way you don't set yourself up to create this polarity of failure and victory and defeat, because it's not about that. It's a transformative process. It's a very gentle easing up. It's a gentle releasing. It's a gentle stepping away.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think time is up. We can just take this very small question, a beautiful one. How can we deal with people in authority who are far away from being royal?
You got to up your royalty. It's the only way. Yeah. You can't, when we're faced with any kind of opposition, which is often people's bad behavior towards us, or generally, people behaving in unroyal ways. If you cancel the O out, you get the word position. And so you have to learn that these are messages for me to stay in my position. And that's what's being asked for. And so a tighter screw and a more deeper practice of silence needs to be cultivated, because that's the test paper in that moment, is how long can I maintain my position for?
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And now I'll invite the seniors with us, Dr. Ashok Mehta, to give us the official vote of thanks. Over to you, Dr. Mehta.
Thank you, Gopi Ben, for those beautiful words expressed through deep silence and through the deep meditation that you took us along. I find that you are almost like a clone of Dadi Janki. Dadi has cloned people, those who lived with her, worked with her, and served with her. I think you are one of those beautiful persons. Thank you very much for being so royal and spreading royalty. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti Ashok Bhai. Lovely to see you.
So thank you so much, Dr. Mehta. And I think Sister Claudia also is with us. So Sister Claudia, if you can also, thank you.
Om Shanti. It was very nice to hear from you, Sister Gopi. And it was a very practical way. So you show us how to deal with some situation comes in our life, and learn how to become royal, doing a more royal way. So thank you for being with us today, and show us and guide us in the way to make our life better. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia.
Okay. So with all this Thanksgiving, let me just quickly share the screen and tell you our upcoming events. Just a moment, I'll make it full screen. So interesting dates, episode 27 and 27 November, easy to remember. The next value is, can't see.
It's not full screen and it's not moving. It's not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just do it again. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it plays around like that today. Okay, is that okay now?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see generosity on the screen, right? Okay, thank you for that. So interesting date and episode, easy to remember, 27 November, episode 27. Respected Sudha Didi, who's the director of the Moscow Brahma Kumaris centers there, on generosity, Udarta. As you know, we always do end in a month the one value with a silence retreat. So this time it is silence retreat on royalty. All of you are welcome to join. It's for 2 hours, same timings. We'll keep you posted on the WhatsApp. And we are so fortunate, Sister Gopi is there with us, and it gives me immense pleasure to announce this while she's here with us. We started this work, the Values for Life events, the talks and the workshops. The first workshop was last year, 5th December. And on the same day, Saturday, we are celebrating the first anniversary. Again, it's as usual, Brother Eric, who's the national coordinator of the Canadian Brahmakumari Centers, and he will be in conversation with Sister Gayatri. All of you have also listened to her. She has done 2-3 talks for us in the workshops. And two beautiful souls, Sister Gopi and Brother Yogesh. Both of these will be giving you an experiential activity, like they will be facilitating, and they will be doing a lot of experiential stuff with you all. So please make sure you all are watching it. It's 8:30 p.m. India time. Again, we'll keep you posted with the flyers. And as usual, carrying on after the talk is the workshop on generosity. And this time it will be Sister Luciana all the way from Brazil. And I probably think we'll be having a few translations in Portuguese as well, and maybe a few other languages. We'll see how it goes. And just to note that there's a little bit of time change. We are moving forward 15 minutes India time so that we can generously accommodate the Canadian West Coast time as well, because it's too early for them. But that's still 6:15 for them in the morning. It like clashes with the morning classes time. So we are trying to accommodate that and see whether we can push it half an hour. So let's see, we'll start with 15 minutes fast forward and see how it goes. It's because the clocks go behind there. And this is our elegant calendar, thanks to our very dear sister Kosha and Anu sister who work on this and make it a reality. It sums up what we are doing. And these are our websites and email, vihasaindia@gmail.com and vihasa.in. And all the recordings of the workshops can be accessed on omshanti.tk/workshops. So with this, I'll just stop sharing the screen. And Mr. Gopi has mentioned, thanks for all the good wishes. I hope she's around. And yeah, okay, thank you. So I don't know what you want to do in the next 5-10 minutes, whether you want to do a meditation or drishtis in silence. Just let us know.
I think we can close with a few minutes of silence. And just invite everyone to step into their graceful selves and allow that sweetness of the soul to pull you inside.
Om Shanti. Thank you so very much for your time and energy. Thanks a lot.
Will ask, request Sister Gopi. I know sweet silence, we don't want to come out of it, but a lot of us look forward for the photo. So we'll just take a quick click. If everybody can switch on your videos. If not, whoever are there will take the photo. Few seconds for all to switch on your video, please. Okay, we'll take it now. Okay, please, everybody's coming up with their videos. Thank you. With a grateful heart for Sister Gopi for taking us deep within ourselves. Thank you. Now.
Shanti.